Hello and welcome. My name is Shaharino, ID 11011086, and I am going to implement a socket programming using Python. For this, I will be using PyCharm as my IDE. So let's open PyCharm, create a new project, and I am going to name this project as SP, that means socket programming. Then create. Now we will need two files. One is named as server.py and the other is named as client.py. So my socket programming will enter the client's computer's CMD and can access anything via CMD it wants. Now I am going to write the code for the server.py. Import socket, import sys, and now I am going to create a function named socket underscore create, which will create the socket for us. And socket is basically which connects the server and the clients. That's what socket is. Now try. We need global variables. We need three global variables: global host, global port, and not import, it's port. And global S. Now host means the server's IP address, but we don't need to implement the IP address because server actually don't need any IP address for this programming. The client needs the server's IP address. The client will search for the server's IP address. Server don't need any IP address, so we are not going to write down the server's IP address in the host variable. Now port equal to, we are going to name this port as 9999. This is not an usual port like HTTP or something like that, like 8023, not any usual port. We create this port as we want. So now we will create the socket using socket.socket. If the creation gave any error, then we will store the error message in a variable named msg. And we will print out the error message to the user. That's good. Now we need to bind this socket with the port. So we are going to create a function socket underscore bind, which will bind our socket with the port. Try. Binding socket to port. Port is a number, so we have to convert this to the string. Now we're binding using the bind function, which will bind the port with the socket. And our socket need to listen for the client's connection before it can connect with the client. So it has to listen first before creating a connection. Now we're giving a parameter 5. That means there can be a maximum of 5 connection. Now they accept. If there pop-ups any error when we are binding the socket with the port, then we are going to store this error message in a variable named msg. Socket binding error alright. And if there is any error when we're binding the socket with the port, then after outputting the message socket binding error, it will again try to bind the socket with the port. So the function will call itself socket.bind. Now we're going to create a function named socket_accept. If our socket finds any connection, that means if it listens to any client, then it will be going to accept that connection. So now def socket_accept. Using this function, our socket is going to accept the connection, and we will store the required information in the con variable and the address variable. So now connection has been established. IP. This IP is the IP address of our client. Sorry, the IP address of the server. Address 0 contains the IP address of the server. And also we are going to output the port number, sorry, and the port number is stored in address 1. This is a number, so we have to convert this to the string. Fair enough. Now we will later create a function named send command, by which we can send commands to our client's CMD. And after sending the command, we're going to close the connection. So conn.close. Now we're going to create the send underscore comments. Let me make it right. Okay, all right. Parameter will be con. We are creating an infinite loop. So in the CMD variable, we are going to insert our command. Now if we write exit, that means we want to get off from the CMD. So if user write exit, then the connection will be closed using this line of code. Our socket will be closed using this line of code, and the system will exit. But if our command is not exit and our command's length is greater than 0, that means if we write something, then we're going to send our command to the client CMD. When we need to send a command to the client using send function, we cannot send any string. We have to encode this string to the bits. That means we have to encode the CMD string to the bits, and after encoding this CMD string to the bits, we can send this via the send function. So we will going to encode the CMD string to the bits using this str.encode CMD. Alright, and then we are going to store our client's response in the client response variable. We are going to store the client's response in the client underscore response variable. Dot receive (1024) is the buffer size of the received information, and when we will receive our desired information via the receive function, the receive functions actually outputs the string as bits. So receive function returns not string, but the receive function returns bits. So we have to decode it back to the string. So we are using the decode function, and we are going to decode in UTF-8 format. Now we are going to print the client response. Now we will create a function named main. First we will be going to create a socket using our socket underscore create function, and then we are going to bind this socket with the port using socket underscore bind function, and then we are going to accept the connection which our socket is listening to, and then we will call the main function. So that's the overall code for our server.py. So now we're going to write the code for the client.py. So let's start. First we're going to import OS module. We're going to import socket, then we're going to import the subprocess module, we have to create a socket for the client, and in the host variable we're going to insert the IP address of the server. For this programming, the server is my own computer and the host will be my own computer's IP address. So that's my PC's IP address, 168.193.1. Fair enough. So the port number will be the same as we have written in the server.py, and then we have to the socket will connect to the server using this. Now we're going to create an infinite loop. Data equal s dot receive 1024. Let me explain it in a minute. UTF-8. Okay, all right. S dot receive means the comment we receive from the server. Now we actually receive the comment in bits, but we need this command as string in this client.py module. So we have to decode back these bits into the string. So that's why I have used this bits dot decode to convert these bits back to the string and stored the comment in a variable named data. Now data colon 2 equal cd. That means if server gives command as cd, that means server wants to change the directory, and we will change the directory using os.chdir. that means change directory, then data 3. Okay, all right. Now if the length of data is greater than 0, that means if we type something, that means if we don't left the null, I mean if we write something, then cmd is a variable, and let me again explain this in a minute. Subprocess dot popen. Now this is a function, subprocess dot popen. Popen is a function that means open a process which will execute the commands in the cmd. Now we will insert the parameters, data, the full data, then an optional parameter shell equal true, which is mostly used by hacker, and we will pipe all our outputs, inputs and error message as standard input output buffer. So std out equal subprocess dot pipe std error equal subprocess dot pipe and std in equal subprocess dot pipe. Fair enough. Now we're going to store this function executes the server's command in the cmd and store the output in the cmd variable. So now we will store the output in the string. So let's first, let me say something. The output will be stored in bytes in the cmd variable. So let's first store the output bytes in a variable named output underscore bytes. cmd dot stdout dot read cmd dot stdr dot read. So all the outputs including the output message and the error messages are stored in the output underscore bytes variable. These outputs are in the bytes. So now we have to convert this to the string. So output underscore str equal output underscore bytes dot decode UTF-8. We are decoding this output which is stored as bytes. We're decoding using the UTF-8 format. Now we have to send this output to our server. So s.send when sending the output to the server, we can't send the string, we have to send the bits, the output as, sorry, not bits, bytes. we have to send the output bytes, not the string output. We have to send the byte output. So we have to decode this output underscore str in bytes, and then we can send it to the server using the socket. So let me encode this output underscore str, and we will concate the current directory. When we run cmd, we, after executing a command, we the system takes us back to the current directory, and we also have to output the current directory, and we can output the current directory using os.get current working directory, and then for the assembling we will use this icon. And using this line of code we will close the socket. So our implementation is completed, and now we're going to test our code. First we have to run the server. So it is binding the socket to the port 9999, and then we have to run the client, and there you go. The connection has been established with the server, that means my computer, and the port is 54798. that has been set by the system. Now I can access the CMD of the client. In this programming, the server and client both are my PC. Now if I write a command like dir, my project is in E drive, so all the files of the E drive are showing here. That's great. Now it is my current working directory, and if I now write cdc, we want to go to the C drive, then okay, it has gone to the C. And if I now write cd users, great, cd shaharino, great. And if we want to step back, cd dot dot, okay, great, cd dot dot, great. So that's a socket programming. Thanks for watching this video.